Browser.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Opening some Linkadinks. All right. Opening the chat.
Pop my first cough drop for the night.
Yeah.
Since the cough just won't go away.
Got a little bit of cough.
Always.
Oh. That's no fun.
No, it is not.
No fun. Hello and welcome to episode number 896 of the Player One podcast. I'm your host, Chris Johnston. With me, as always, from Canada is Mr. Greg Seward.
Hello.
How's it going there, sir?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How's
Just
it
you
going
and
with
me tonight. Just us.
Just how I imagine it.
Just the two of
When
us.
I'm alone in the dark. This is what I picture.
Yeah. Yeah. How you been, man?
Busy. Been busy.
I'm noticing
Yeah.
that the Christmas tree that was behind you last week is gone.
Well, I mean,
You couldn't take the razzing from Phil?
no, it has nothing to do with it. It's just one of those things where oh, hang on. One of them is wandering around right now. 3 kids with 3 very different schedules, and just if I'm not here to do it, then it's not happening. So
I see. That's how that works?
Yep.
Yeah. Good times.
Phil's opinion means nothing to me. As far as that, anyway. And most things, to be honest. But
I see.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm on the last episode of Lost. I think I mentioned that we're doing a rewatch.
You did.
My daughter is loving it. Although she does this thing. I don't know if your kids do this. Have you watched like movies where there's like a touching scene coming up or like a heartfelt scene that then they like make a joke over or like try to like meme over?
My kids didn't do that in this situation, but like I'm when I watch movies, if there's something sad, I'm pathetic. I'm like,
same.
I'm a puddle immediately.
Yeah.
And it was for that reason that and obviously for like the violence and just the terrible things that happen. Yeah. I waited a long time. My kids were asking to watch Schindler's List.
Oh. Okay.
Right, because we talked about it and everything like that, and they know about the Holocaust, and so I finally said, okay, like I think you're old enough to watch this, and for the 2 older ones, my youngest hasn't seen it, but the scene at the end of that movie when he's fleeing and they give him the ring, and he drops it and he melts down, like he breaks down over not being able to save 1 or 2 more people.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many times I've seen it. The fact that I know it's coming, I'm just like a wreck. So that scene happens. I'm like drying my eyes. I turn and they're completely no effect at all. They weren't joking or anything. Like it wasn't like they're not monsters, but this is like really nothing. Like I knew that scene was coming for 2 hours and I was still not ready for it. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yes, they in general, yeah, like my oldest gets a real kick out of watching movies with me when there are sad scenes so that she can laugh at me for crying. So
yeah, so we're watching
I blame their mother.
The last season of Lost, and in a couple like the run up to the final episodes, which by the way, like in the final season of Lost, I really dislike the temple stuff. And then I really like everything after that with Desmond trying to get everybody together. I like that stuff. And so there are these scenes where like the flash sideways version of a character will like come in contact with another character and have all these flashbacks of things that have happened on the island. And it'll be with this sort of gold filter over it and this like slow, like touching music. My daughter always makes a joke at those moments. She'll always meme something.
Well, I mean, that's clearly a way to to deal with that, right?
I suppose that's true, but it
Yeah,
always like ruins the moment. Like I'm almost becoming a puddle.
I feel
And
like that's more of a coping mechanism than anything else.
it's possible. So she wanted to see The Shawshank Redemption,
Nice.
which is a great
Great
movie.
movie.
It's
Yep.
one of my favorite movies. Her first exposure to that movie was I don't know if you've seen the television show Last Man on Earth. You ever seen it?
No, I never saw it.
Well, they do this joke where one of the characters says that their favorite movie is Shawshank Redemption, and this guy who has never seen it is like, "Oh yeah, that's my favorite movie too," but he's never seen it. And he pretends that one of the lines in it is, "It really was a Shawshank. It truly was a Shawshank Redemption," which of course is not a line from the movie, and it's hilarious, right? And so we watched Last Man on Earth a while back. It's a great show if you've never seen it. And so she wanted to see Shawshank Redemption. She watched it. My wife fast forwarded some bits because obviously not everything
Yeah,
in there is appropriate.
there's some disturbing stuff in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get to the ending half hour, which is where everything like hits. And my wife is this way, I'm this way, where we turn into puddles during that whole bit, right? Once the poster gets ripped down and you see the escape route and all that. So my daughter apparently couldn't stop talking during the
That's
whole bit.
that's absolutely a coping mechanism. That's yeah.
You think? You
Yeah,
think?
I think
Maybe
it is. Yeah.
Maybe it is.
It's like to
Ah,
distance herself from what she's watching, I think. So
it's possible.
yeah.
It's possible.
What the hell do I know? I don't know.
But my daughter's way into Dungeons and Dragons now. Have we talked about this?
The game
She's
or the
way into
movie?
D&D. Both.
Really? Okay. The movie's
Both.
great.
Yeah, Honor Among Thieves. Yeah, big fan of that. My daughter, and then she also does like a D&D club at her school, and then goes to a D&D meetup at the comic book store locally.
Nice.
So she's totally nerding out on it, and it's heartwarming. It's very heartwarming. I would never play D&D. I cannot. I'm not a D&D person.
We have been playing off and on for a few years. Your best friend Mike was dungeon master for us. Yeah. It's okay. He does a really good job. I actually feel bad sometimes when we play because the amount of effort he puts in, and I'm like, I'm so bad at anything. Well, all of it, to be honest. But anything where you're supposed to role play, I suck. Like play as the character, no.
Yeah.
Like if you want me to choose how I want to attack that orc over there, I'll do that, and I'm good. But like anything outside of sort of exploring and fighting and stuff, I've always just been like, I don't know, I'm not into it. So
I see.
Yeah, but we don't really play anymore. I think he actually has like virtual games going with other people who are way better at that than
I believe he does. Some of our Sea of Thieves friends.
Oh, well, there you go.
Play, which by the way, happy birthday to Mike.
Yes, today's his birthday.
Our mutual friend.
29 again.
Indeed. All right. Should we talk about some news?
You're going to have to guide me through it because I don't know any of this stuff.
You don't know any of this stuff. Okay. So we have a rumor that Sony is gearing up to announce a remaster or remake, it's not real clear, of Until Dawn, which you may remember is the 2015 horror game from Sony, and Massive, I think, is the studio that made it.
That game's
Supermassive.
10 years old.
That's right.
That's what? That game's almost 10 years old.
Almost. Yeah. And I don't think it did very well initially, but it has gone on to become like a cult hit. I really enjoyed it. I paid full price for it. I'm not embarrassed by that at all, but
I remember you playing that game. A
lot of people didn't.
Yeah. No, I never played. I'm not a big, I mean, the game I played this week is Alan Wake 2, but I'm not a big horror gamer. Never really was. So
yeah,
it's not something that
Me neither. But for some reason, I really like the Until Dawn. Something
Mm.
about it just really, really, really fun.
Well, I mean, the Resident Evil remakes have all been getting tons of press. They're super popular, and like, I mean, Village was great, and whatever
Resident
7
Evil
was
4.
called.
7,
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, either way, what I'm saying is the Resident Evil franchise is really strong, and they've definitely gone back to their horror roots because they got away from that for a while, and
Yep.
I mean, Alan Wake 2 did really well critically last year, so makes sense. Why not
And
brush off the horror franchise and give it another go?
and apparently Sony is gonna make some kind of TV show or movie. There's gonna be an Until Dawn movie. Yes.
Nice.
Coming at some point, but
I agree with
see.
Micah in the chat. I would rather have Rush of Blood on PSVR 2.
Yeah.
Rush of Blood was like when PSVR first came out, between Thumper and Rush of Blood, like I was so happy with VR.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
don't have the other two for a
they
while.
made a PSVR 2 game, but I think initially it had some performance issues, and though they have patched it, I don't think anybody really has
I didn't even know it was out.
gone back. Yeah, it was initially delayed, so it came out in like March,
What?
like a month after the PSVR 2 launch, and it had a whole bunch of problems when it came out. But it has been patched and hopefully
Okay.
better.
Well, now I'll have to check that out.
I forget the name of it because I don't have it, but it's out there.
Rush of Blood was so much fun.
I never played Rush of
loved
Blood.
that game.
I never played it.
Loved it.
I think I have it on. I think it was one of the PS Plus games at some point.
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah,
but I have not played it. I should dig out my PSVR 1, and play it.
I have a video somewhere of a woman I was dating at the time, and that came out. She asked to play it, and so I have a video of her sitting in my armchair with the VR helmet on, just screaming at the top of her lungs. Like, it's so funny. I'll have to find it because she's looking around like like she's just losing it because she wasn't a horror gamer at all. So it was just like, that's like one of my biggest memories of that game. So anyway,
Switchback is the name of the PSVR 2.
Man, Switchback was a great show on Sunday mornings on CBC television in the 80s, just so you know. But
Never heard of it. What was it about?
it was just a variety show. It was like a kids talk show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It played like it was like they did contests, and they would have studio guests sometimes, and they would play parts of shows like as breaks. For a while they were playing Batman, like 60s Batman, and then sometimes they would play the Munsters. They'd not debut, but they'd have like new music videos on there. It was a really cool show. It's actually one of those things. CBC had a few really cool sort of teen and tween television shows back then that sadly are almost impossible to find like copies of anywhere. I think I found like 1 or 2 clips of Switchback the whole time that I've ever been looking for it, and it kind of bugs me that that's the case. But yeah. But Switchback VR, I'll have to go find that.
Have you ever had this problem where you are like searching for a GIF from a moment in a TV show that you remember, whether it's from like the 2000s or the 90s or 80s or whatever, and you want to find a GIF from it, and instead it just spits out, I don't know, influencer GIFs instead?
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
We're old.
Yep. True dat.
We're old.
And today Mike's even older.
Well, that's true. That is true. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the 3DS and Wii U. Online play is shutting down in April. Yeah.
It's too bad. Although
April 8th and 9th.
I think for probably anything on there, the online community is probably a wasteland anyway. You know what I mean?
Probably, yeah.
I can imagine there's probably
there might be people still playing Splatoon.
I was going to say, or an Animal Crossing communities or something.
Mario Maker 1.
Are people still playing Mario Maker 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not me, but I'm sure someone out there is. Yeah.
But yeah,
I
that's
love the
the.
Wii U. I love the Wii U. It's great. Great system.
I liked some games on the Wii U. I don't know that I'd go as far as saying it was a great system.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Mainly for the
it
off
was.
TV play.
It was.
Why
Yeah,
I
I
loved
know.
it.
That's yeah. Coming from you, that makes a whole lot of sense. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was. I'm indifferent to the Wii U. It was different. It was. It was a ballsy move that didn't quite work.
I really want
But
them
hey,
to remake some of the Nintendo Land content and release those as like NSO freebies, like Mario Chase. I think you could do a really fun online game, Mario Chase. You could have Mario Chase 99. That'd be fun.
I never really got into that game.
The Animal Crossing game in there was fun, where you had to eat candy,
I
and
do
you
that
got
in real
heavier
life.
and heavier and
I need to
heavier.
play it. I live it.
And then you had to like spit it out if you were getting chased. One player was the police in the game, and you were trying to steal all the candy. Anyway, really good stuff. Really good stuff. All right, 3DS and Wii U shutting down. Yeah, 3DS. What a great system
I've
that
been
was.
reliving the 3DS a little bit because on my long delayed Ridge Racer video, of course, there was Ridge Racer on the DS, and then there was Ridge Racer 3D on the 3DS. So I played both of those and capture footage of them and stuff. And it's I don't think about the 3DS or the DS very often anymore. But getting back into there, it's like, oh man, I'm playing my 3DS, so I'm gonna toss some games in just for the hell of it. It's like, my God, there were some good games on those consoles.
Yeah,
We were all playing that. It's yeah.
Some of Nintendo's greatest games are on that console.
I remember you being really into the Dragon Quest Dragon Quest series because they released a lot of them across those platforms.
Yeah, on DS for sure. Yeah. Oh well, so yeah, April 8th and 9th is when all of that closes down. So
at least it's not like Gran Turismo Sport on the 31st.
Yeah. You gonna play it until they bring the servers offline? Are you gonna be like that person?
I've been scrambling to save replay videos.
Well, I know you've been doing that, but you're not gonna like play it until they shut the
I don't have time to play it. I'm trying to get these replay videos done.
All right.
I figured it out today. I have one endurance race and 4 other multi-class series races to do between now and Wednesday. It's probably going to be about 2 hours each for the 4 multi-class races and probably about 3 hours of work to get the endurance race done properly.
Okay.
So it's going to be a lot.
All right. Well, good luck to you.
You don't care.
I do care.
You don't.
I do. No, I think having those replays is good. Nostalgia for how an online game played at the time, right?
Yeah.
Like I think so many of these online games now, these games as a service games, you have a very short window, a moment in time to play them as they were and remember them as they were. And I think having those replays is good.
I agree. That's why I'm doing it.
I look back at all the Sea of Thieves moments that I have recorded on YouTube, and I'm appreciative that I have those moments, right?
Yeah,
because some of those you'll never be able to relive, like some of that stuff, because they took things out of the game or they nerfed some things. So now people don't put explosive barrels in the crow's nest on Sea of Thieves anymore. But we have so many videos of people who put explosive barrels in the crow's nest, and you shoot them, you snipe them, and they blow up, and the whole boat just like goes boom. It's great. Because that isn't a thing anymore. That's not part of the meta. You can't relive that moment. Yeah.
Only those of us who were there.
Only those of us who were there. So staying on Nintendo here, we got Princess Peach Showtime coming out March 22nd, and Nintendo is putting out for a limited time a set of pastel pink Joy-Con.
I'm surprised they haven't done that already.
Me too.
You gonna get these?
I am not going to get them. No,
No.
no. So at some point they're going to announce Switch 2 at some time in the future. It may
I
not
thought
be this
haven't they
year.
said it'll be this year? I thought I heard that it was going to be this year now. Like, wasn't that confirmed? Or am I just?
No, it's not confirmed.
I don't know.
It's again an analyst saying that coming out this year and it's going to have an 8-inch LCD screen.
LCD, right? Yes.
That was the rumor. So at some point there will be new Joy-Con.
Hopefully they don't suck.
Hopefully they are better than the Joy-Con for the original Switch. I can't imagine they'd be any worse.
That was my thing when I'm looking at it. It's like, I mean, I'm not interested in buying new ones anyway, but I mean, my daughter has a Switch as well. She's not really a pink kind of girl, but she wouldn't want it either because she doesn't like the Joy-Cons either. None of my kids, nobody in this family likes using the Joy-Cons for anything.
Yeah. I recently let me go grab this. I recently got some PacMan JoyCon, the split pad Pro.
Oh, nice.
Slim.
Hurry up! It's dead air. Come on.
Okay, I'm back.
I can't feel this time. You didn't prep me for this.
I'm back. So yeah, I got these PacMan
Nice.
Slim Joy-Con. I have the full size split pad Pro that they did as well, Hori. And I really love the analog sticks on these. Like they're nice and they're raised to the right level and they're the right size and they feel much better to use and to play. The only downside with split pad is no rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't believe that we are still at this point where the third party stuff from Hori still does not have rumble. I wish they could come up with something, a deal with Nintendo where they get rumble or something. But I hope Nintendo does a better job with the Joy-Con with whatever the Switch 2 is. I would really like
me too
a better ergonomic way to control Switch games.
Yeah, I mean, once I bought that split pad, I've never disconnected it. My Joy-Cons, I couldn't even tell you where they are, to be honest. They're packed away somewhere.
Yeah. I use Joy-Con only if I absolutely have to. Otherwise, I'm using a third-party thing.
Yeah.
Split pad or something.
And I normally agree that third-party pads suck. I've never been a fan through the years, but the split pad is perfect.
And Hori makes great accessories, just in general. So... All right.
Although those would look better if they were Miss Pac-Man.
Well, I don't disagree, but they don't make Miss Pac-Man.
Well, more's the pity.
Yeah. Anyway, this was a deal on Woot, like a week ago.
What is a Woot?
It's a deal site where they offer one deal a day on like a particular item.
So here's a bit of trivia for you again. As far as Canadian television goes.
Uh-oh.
I used to work on a kids show called Woot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's Canadian. It's local cable. But
so it wasn't about daily deals or anything off of Amazon.
No, it was not.
Right. Yeah. Okay. What did you do on this kids show?
I was a camera operator.
So you weren't like a host?
No, God, no. I was in my 20s, maybe 30s. I think I was in my 30s.
Really?
So yeah.
So this was before you moved down to the States?
No, it was after.
After?
I moved to the States when I was 23.
Oh, okay.
I'm not that old.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, yeah, but we're like the same age. You're like a year younger than I am.
You're older than I am.
Do some math. Read a book. Jesus.
No, I refuse. Anyway, yeah, Pink Joy-Con.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for
Princess Peach Showtime is interesting looking.
Yeah, did you see the new trailer?
No, but I see a link to it here in the story that you've linked. So
they showed off some new abilities: Cowgirl Peach, Patisserie Peach, with some new mini games. I hope it's good.
Yeah, me too. It's got potential.
I'm kind of taking a wait and see attitude on this one. We'll see what reviews come in. I want to like it though.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm really excited about Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Comes out next month. That should be fun.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll play that or not.
I know you probably won't, but I know Phil will. So
yes,
yeah.
You know what else I won't be playing?
What?
Pokemon with guns.
Pal World.
Was
it 6 million or is it up to 7 million now?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it looks terrible.
It does look terrible. I have no interest in it. Ever since hearing that it's a survival game with base building, I'm just like, I'm out.
Yeah.
No, not gonna play it. But it is on Game Pass, so there's that. Although I hear the Xbox version is not so great with stability.
Well, I mean, from what I've seen, none of the versions are so great. But I know you're just talking about technically. But.
Yeah, technically. Yeah. Yes. All right. You want to talk about industry job cuts because the industry?
Yeah, boy,
really
that's
can't stop laying people off.
Yeah, and our mutual friend Shu, ex-boss, ex-editor in chief.
Yeah, affected by the layoffs.
EGM affected by the layoffs this time, which sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It seems like an unsustainable cycle that we're in here because
is it just the consolidation or would this have been happening even without that?
I don't know. I mean, the consolidation obviously was the trigger. And that always happens. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been through one, but anybody who's ever been through one has always gotten the speech like, "We love what you're doing and we don't want to change anything." And then like 3 to 6 months later, a huge part of the workforce is let go, which I mean makes sense because when you consolidate like that, you double up on a lot of jobs, and of course there needs to be those cuts. I think it's another reason to be against consolidation and merging. But yeah, I mean, in general, I don't know. If you keep letting go of senior people, especially, which it feels like is probably a thing because senior people cost more. I mean, you're getting rid of a whole layer of mentorship and leadership, and I mean, you're going to end up with a bunch of companies that are run by, some senior management and then a bunch of junior programmers and artists, and well, maybe not artists because they'll be using AI as much as they can to get rid of those, but just a bunch of junior people, and you lose a lot of tribal knowledge. You lose a lot of what makes your company's culture run. I think it's gonna. I think a lot of these companies that are making these massive cuts will end up paying for them down the road. And I think we might end up paying for them as consumers of their products.
Possible.
But, it seems to be where, and it's not just games. I mean, the tech industry in general is kind of in this position. But it seems really bad in games at the moment. I don't know. I'm glad I was talking to somebody else about this, and it was ironic because the day after the cuts happened at Blizzard, Facebook Memories popped up, and it had been 9 years ago that day that I lost my job at Frontier Developments when they shut down the Halifax studio. And it's funny because that was the day that I promised myself that I was getting out of games for good. And I did. And knock on wood, I ended up at one of the best jobs I've ever had. I've been there for like almost 9 years, which never seems to happen. I don't think I've been anywhere for that long. But I mean, I think I was kind of lucky to get out when I got out. I'm not saying I would never go back because who knows what tomorrow brings. And when you need a job, you need a job. But
sure,
boy, man, how do you start a life? How do you lay down roots anywhere when it's like, oh, when the project's over, you're gone, and maybe not even that long? It's crazy,
right?
People
I
can't live that way.
Smaller studios. Well, I mean, let's hope that some of these layoffs bring with it some smaller studios, some upstart studios. That would be
Smaller studios and
a good outcome.
shorter development times, which
That's
smaller
never
games.
going to happen.
No, but that's what I mean. That's to me, that's one of the big problems is that, if you're not going the service game route, which is super expensive anyway, and you've got this endless churn, but you're going the like premium game route where it takes years and years and years to release something while you're not generating revenue and you need a huge team. That's not a good recipe.
No.
Right? Like for keeping people, that's not a good recipe. So yeah. I don't know. Sucks.
Yeah.
You ruined the show for bringing this up.
Sorry. Well, I guess a big part of the Microsoft cuts, or at least one thing that came out of that, was that they basically, I don't know that they even have a physical games department anymore.
Yes.
Isn't that part of it that people are talking about? So
it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean,
although I'm not sure physical
Microsoft's
games
been going that way.
were that big on Xbox. When you look at the NPD,
it's a really
Microsoft, or I don't think Xbox had a big share.
Somebody at work was quoting numbers, and I have no idea where they got these numbers from, but they're pretty invested in this whole conversation, so I'm assuming they're pretty good. But I think they were saying like 10% of physical game sales was Microsoft or was Xbox.
Yeah,
that's nothing.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, they've been going that way for a long time. It's not surprising. It's not surprising that of the big three, that they would be the ones that pull the trigger first.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think since the inception of Game Pass, this was sort of not necessarily the ultimate goal, but this was where they were going. And I mean, I've been saying as much for years on the show. I think we're going to get to the point where they're out of hardware too, but who knows?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. I'm looking forward to that Sea of Thieves for PlayStation announcement whenever that happens.
Yep. It's got to be coming.
It's got to be, right? Anyway. That's it.
That's the news. That's our show.
That's the news. That's all the news that I set aside for us anyway. I don't know if you had anything that you wanted to talk about that you saw.
No, I mean the layoffs and stuff was all I was really paying attention to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, let's talk about what we've been playing. Greg.
Gran Turismo Sport.
You were almost about to say Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto. I wish.
Grand Theft Auto Sport.
Speaking of games that take way too long to make. No, I didn't play much this week because like I said, I've been desperately trying to get all these replay videos done on GT Sport, which, I mean, whether I do or not after January 31st is not going to matter. So, yeah, but I did have a chance to fire up Alan Wake 2 for a little while. I mean, I don't know how far you are now, and I guess spoilers for anyone who hasn't played it yet, because I don't think you've picked it up in a while.
No, I put it down to play Prince of Persia.
Right. Okay. So I'm in
and finish Mario RPG.
You may have heard a reference to it at some point in the game so far, because they talk about it fairly early on, but I'm in Valhalla right now, which is an old folks home.
Okay.
Which is where the old gods of Asgard, Thor, and what's the other brother? Odin? Is that the other brother's name? That's where they are, right? It's a nursing home that was built based on their profits of the last album or something like that. Creepy as anything. I mean, the whole game's creepy, yes. And we've talked about before how the atmosphere is crazy good in that game. But anyway, I'm going through it as Saga. And at one point you have to go into the basement, this flooded basement. And that's kind of where the level's big bad is introduced. But you don't see her I actually haven't seen her yet. At least I have. I finally found her the other night, but you don't see her forever. And just like moving around this cramped little basement, it's so freaky. but then you find the overlap on the level, and which I think you've been in a couple times already, because you do that in the forest and you do it again in the in Coffee World. And so you're in this sort of long looping section of corridors, and they're of course mostly flooded, and there's just tons of audio happening, like clanking and voices and all this stuff. And so as the story has gone on, Saga has realized that she's like a character in the story, and there's an overarching plot line about her daughter Logan that I won't give away too much, but just to say that something terrible might have happened to her. And which I think you probably know that much so far.
Yeah, she couldn't get in touch with her husband the last time.
Right. And she's been told that her daughter drowned. It's been intimated that her daughter drowned.
She's been told that
she doesn't
the
believe
entire time.
Right.
Even though she knows it's not part of her reality, but now she's starting to question whether that actually did happen.
Right. So anyway, at one point, and so the boss in this stage is called the Drowned Lady. And you're in an area where apparently a teenager drowned years ago, right? So it's like it's all about, the whole stage is about drowning, which, by the way, freaks me the hell out. Because of my past and almost drowning at one point. But so that in itself made me uncomfortable. Makes me uncomfortable in this level because it's all water based basically. And you're walking down this corridor, and at one point you can hear a child calling out for mom. And it's Logan. You can hear Logan crying out. And I'm playing, it's like midnight at this point, and I'm tired and my anxiety's through the roof, and I'm just getting freaked out at this game. And anyway, you hear Logan call out a few times, and then out of the blue, Saga, as the character, just says to herself, like, man, fuck this place. And the way she delivers it, and it was just in that moment where I was in my mind, I'm like, man, fuck this game. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this stage. I really want it to be over. Not because it's not good. It's doing exactly what it's meant to be doing. But anyway, yeah, it's just like, it really cut the tension, actually, because it just was so perfectly placed. But I didn't get to play it very much. It was like an hour and a half maybe that night. And I've been desperately, like I said, trying to get through Gran Turismo Sport before they shut the service down on Wednesday. And then, just regular kid stuff. So I didn't get a chance to go back to Prince of Persia this week, which, will just confirm people's suspicions that I hate it.
Wait, you hate this?
But I don't.
You hate Prince of Persia?
No, I don't. I don't at all.
Yeah.
There was quite a debate going in our chat about me not liking the art style, but yeah, that was really all I've been playing. Gran Turismo and Alan Wake 2. So I was ready to bust out and play some Alan Wake the other night on my Portal, but it was getting way too late. I had to turn it off. Plus, I don't use it enough. It's almost always dead when I go to pick it up.
You just got to leave it plugged in.
No,
mine's always ready to go.
If I had a case of some kind that would allow me to plug it in but still have it protected, I would do that.
Yeah,
but I don't. When are they going to make one?
I don't know. Why would Sony release a handheld system without a case?
Right? You got that nice big screen,
weird.
and it's just sitting there waiting to be scratched.
I know.
Drives me nuts.
There was some rumor, or somebody said that the new Switch is going to use the same panel that Sony's been using for the PlayStation Portal.
I wouldn't be surprised,
because it's just an LCD. It's not an OLED.
Yeah,
but it is a nice screen.
It's a very nice screen.
Very nice screen. So
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it would make perfect sense.
It would. Yeah,
I'd be okay with that. I never did go the OLED route for my Switch. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm still rocking the OG, man. Launch day.
Rocking the OG. Wow. I thought you would have gone OLED.
I don't play off TV very often.
Right. You're a docked.
Like when I travel, and I don't travel very often. So.
Right. Yeah. You play docked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Team docked.
I play both docked and undocked.
Yeah.
So it just depends. Yeah.
Gives you those Wii U vibes when you play undocked?
No. Anyway, I've been playing Prince of Persia, The
Hate
Lost
that game.
Crown. I hear that you hate that game. So I just recently unlocked fast travel.
Okay.
Have you done that yet? Or are you to that point? You unlocked fast travel?
No.
No?
I don't remember unlocking it. Maybe I
Okay.
did.
Maybe. I think you'd remember,
Okay.
probably.
I don't know. I don't have a very
But
good memory.
I also now have the bow and arrow from the
I got
demo.
that.
And I can do the wall run, the little like the
Okay, so
dash.
you're definitely ahead of me there, but I do have the bow and arrow. That was a nice thing to get.
Yeah, the bow and arrow is nice. I
Yeah.
like that. And it's sort of it seems like it auto targets a little bit. You just
Yeah, it
kind of
does.
have to point the left analog stick in the sort of direction and
Yeah,
hit the triangle button.
I find if there's a very obvious target that you're kind of facing, it'll just sort of
It'll
shoot
just
at
hit
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Which
is
is
nice.
good.
That's good design.
And then I also unlocked, I guess it's like a disc weapon. Have you unlocked that one yet? That one is less accurate. And you can kind of hold down the left stick and choose a path for it, and it ricochets off walls and things. So it kind of shows you a blue line where it's going to go.
Okay.
And that does not lock on to things. So it's
Okay.
a little more finicky, but I am still having a lot of fun with the game. The map is huge. I got to the point where I defeated a boss and then had to run back to almost the beginning part of the of the game, and it's like it's kind of a long journey back here, but I wonder how big the map is in total.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know the answer to that. But I am enjoying it. I'm having fun with it. I'm playing it a mix of on the PS5 and on the PS Portal.
How does it play on the Portal? I would worry that the lag I know there's not a lot of lag on the Portal, but
No.
there is some.
There is some, but I increased the parry window
Okay.
in the accessibility features. Or so basically, yeah, I don't have to, the timing doesn't have to be precise on anything. So, and the latency isn't that bad on platforming and jumping or anything.
Okay.
So it's
All right.
perfectly playable
Hmm.
on there.
Maybe I should
Yeah.
fire up the Portal tonight after we're done recording.
I highly recommend it. Yes, do that. And then I've been playing Sea of Thieves.
Never heard of it.
I know, right? So they launched a new season last week, and the way that it has really gotten me back is that progression now has gone from me having no progression because I had hit all the level caps like over a year ago. So there's really no reason for me to play, right? No numbers going up. But
Okay.
now, since they basically removed the caps, all my numbers are going up again, and I am getting that dopamine rush of turning things in and getting experience points for it, and it's fun. And they've like increased some of the loot that you get. They've like made new loot that's only
Loot. Loot.
yeah, you can only get in shipwrecks, or that uh you can only find via message in bottle quests. So I'm really enjoying just kind of sailing around, getting the new loot, and they have this new thing where you can dive directly to your first stop in a quest, and I'm enjoying the hell out of that too, because you hop on your boat, raise the anchor, drop the sails, and you dive below the ocean, and then dive back up, emerge out of the water at the place you were supposed to be to start. So the starting time to actually like start a voyage is super fast now.
Yeah, you were saying that last week. So, interesting.
It makes a difference. It really, really does. Because now if I have like a half hour, I can actually get something done in that half hour.
That is cool.
So, and it's just a fun game to play.
Do you ever play that game for like a half hour or less normally?
Yeah. Yeah. No, well,
Okay.
now I do. Yeah.
Well, now you do.
Recently. Yeah. But it's so much fun. Anyway, that's all I've been playing.
Do we need a tweet song?
So I guess that means, let me bring up the tweet song. I do have the tweet song.
Okay.
I think. I don't think I deleted it. Let's see. No, did I delete it?
Oh no, CJ.
No. I'm going to have to go through my entire soundboard here to see.
Brutal.
Tweedle-diddle-dee.
Really loud.
Tweedle-diddle-dee.
And it's Phil.
Tweet.
Really?
Tweet.
No.
You had to wait for it.
He's even annoying when he's not here.
I know. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Headcase Games, who says, biggest disappointment in gaming for you back in the day? For me, it was Ghostbusters in the NES. Yes, I did beat it. Also, the Sega CD unit I rented instead of bought.
What?
It was extremely expensive and nothing jumped out to me as being must own around launch. Some good games later, though.
All right. Recovered from that a little bit.
In gaming from back in the day.
I mean, there were lots if you want to go to the level of like Ghostbusters in different games. But I remember actually Ghostbusters 2 was one for me on the NES. Because I actually really liked that movie. And so I don't know why I decided that the game would be good, but I bought it anyway.
Oh my God. You bought it?
Oh yeah. I finished it because I bought it. It sucked. It was real bad. But I mean, there's been lots of games like that through the years. I remember, I would say like ActRaiser 2 was a huge disappointment for me because I loved the first game, like one of my favorites. And then playing the second one, I was over it inside of like 20 minutes. It's like, I really don't like this. So, I'm sure there's been lots more of that. I mean, from a bigger perspective, I was really disappointed, even though it was the right move when Sega stopped making hardware. For sure. That was a pretty big disappointment. I don't know. It's probably lots.
Yeah.
What do you got, CJ?
Well, one of my early ones was renting Back to the Future for the NES and just how awful that game is. And that's a movie that I love. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Depending on the day of the week you ask me, I'll probably say it is my favorite movie. And to have the game of my favorite movie be such an absolute stinker is it hurt. Yeah. Then also Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy.
Oh, hey, let's just say the Jaguar in general.
Jaguar in general. No, I was a Jaguar apologist for a long time.
Oh, really?
I was one of those people who was like, well, and I still will say Tempest 2000 on the Jaguar is one of the best.
Yeah.
It was a great game, but like Cybermorph and Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy were just terrible. Cybermorph especially just I tried to like that game. It was just bad.
I remember because not that I wasn't like super excited for a Jaguar at all, but of course I was curious.
Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, hey, it's a new Atari console and it's 64-bit. And that was the time when, that era for games was so interesting because that was also when you had like the CDI and the 3DO and 32X and all these weird consoles and weird add-ons and the Sega CD and it's like kind of and the Neo Geo too, but it's kind of like the Nintendo and Sega were kind of at the top and then everything else was different. But I always looked forward to trying all that stuff out. And I remember when we found a Jaguar for rent in the city and brought it home. And even before we played it, I remember being sort of taken aback at how terribly the console itself was designed,
Yeah.
or I should say
The
put
build
together.
quality?
Yeah, because I mean, you had that weird sloped cartridge port that had no doors on it, so
Yeah,
it was
it's
just
just the
open to
raw
the air.
circuit board.
Right. Um, and then in the back for the connectors, it was the same thing. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't nothing was enclosed. Like you were literally plugging it felt like you were literally plugging things into the circuit board on the
Yeah.
back of the unit. It was so cheap
Yeah.
and it just didn't bode well for the games. And then Tempest 2000 was amazing.
Yeah.
Um, I've always thought that Alien versus Predator is overrated.
But it was doing
Um,
some very interesting things for
it
the
was doing
time.
interesting things. It was a great idea,
Yeah.
and it was a great obviously great license, two great licenses that you
Yeah.
didn't see a lot of.
True.
And I think it kind of skated by based on that, but technically it was not a very good game.
No.
Um, and then just about everything else was garbage. I didn't
Yeah.
play Rayman, but almost
Everything
everything else
else
was
was
just
garbage.
absolute trash.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was like, wow, like it was it was disappointing even based on my low expectations,
Yeah.
which was sad.
Yeah. I also I wish the Dreamcast had done better.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I mean, I know that us at EGM, we were big fans of the Dreamcast in general, and it was just kind of amazing to me that even though we were such fans of the Dreamcast, that console didn't do anything in the US.
I mean, it came out and it was so strong on launch day.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember because I mean, I was a big Dreamcast fan too. And when we got our PlayStation 2s, because the Dreamcast came out obviously before I didn't come to Ziff Davis until 99. So the Dreamcast had already come out by the time I was there, and I loved it. It was great. It was my my favorite console, and I remember when we got our PlayStation 2s.
Hmm.
I mean I adored Ridge Racer 5. The games were great. SSX was amazing.
Mhm.
Everything looked good, but I was definitely in the camp of nothing here looks as good as like Soul Calibur or like just
Yeah.
the Dreamcast games still looked a tiny bit better, and it had everything to do with
Well, you didn't like the
um
bouncer?
oh god the bouncer. It had everything to do with texture resolution because
Mm,
the texture resolution on the Dreamcast was at first was way better.
mm.
I mean, it picked up on the PlayStation obviously, but anyway, so yeah, I remember being super disappointed when they killed it, but also not surprised because of how the Dreamcast had been doing
Mhm.
and knowing that it was sort of Sega's last gasp. Um, and it was released sort of, off generation, and it never had a chance. It did so many cool things. It was trailblazing in a lot of ways, and especially with the online stuff, but
Online play, yeah.
it never really had a chance, I don't think. The PlayStation
Yeah.
2 was way more the idea of the PlayStation 2 was way more popular than the Dreamcast from the word go.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Uh,
when you can't even beat out the anticipation of your competition,
mm,
you're kind of screwed.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
What else you got?
what?
What else you got?
What else do I have? Let's see. Let's do this one from Grain Geek John. Following on from last week's conversation with the release of a working 3DS emulator on the MetaQuest causing interest, would it make more sense for Nintendo to release their games on existing VR hardware rather than launch a new headset? After all, they already have games on mobile.
I don't get so there must be a rumor going around that I didn't know about Nintendo getting into VR. Like, is that a legit
No,
no? Like, why are
it's
people
not a
asking about
rumor.
this?
It's I think I said on the show, like, I think a natural step for Nintendo would be to
Okay.
do VR. They've dabbled in it with Labo a little bit. They did the Virtual Boy, but that was, I think, before its time. I think there is enough interest in VR, especially in the low cost angle of VR, where I think MetaQuest has done well but a name like Nintendo could get more core gamers
Oh, okay.
interested in it. I think it would. It's totally from left field. No, there's no rumor, anything indicating that they would do that. But to me, Nintendo sometimes does very wacky things, and you never know if they could
It's
do
fair.
something like that. So that was where that discussion came from. No
Okay.
such rumor about any of that
Okay.
that I've heard.
I mean, would it be better for Nintendo than releasing its own headset if they wanted to get into VR? Yeah, I think so. They
Yeah,
never
but if
would do
Nintendo
it.
wanted to get into VR, they would release their own headset.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They'd never do it.
They'd
Like,
never they'd never I don't think you'll ever see Nintendo. Mobile is a
no.
completely different thing
Yeah.
where and when was the last time Nintendo released a game on mobile? It's been a while now. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
Pikmin was the last one, but um I don't see it happening. I don't
No.
see Nintendo releasing games on MetaQuest. I don't see them releasing things on PC. Never. They're gonna do games for their own hardware, and that is it. And I guess it's like a never say never kind of thing, but it's Nintendo. They're gonna do their own thing,
Yeah.
despite what you would think the better business decision would be,
Yeah.
right? They're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
yeah, although I did hear about the 3DS emulator on the MetaQuest. Apparently, it doesn't run great in you're on MetaQuest 2. So I don't know.
Somebody
And
Nintendo will sue somebody into oblivion.
exactly, I'm not interested in playing an emulator on the MetaQuest. I gotta say, I'm
No.
interested in VR games. I like playing bespoke VR games that are tried and tested, and you know,
Reminds me of, wasn't there, I mean, I don't think this has existed for, I remember when sort of the, not the beginning of VR, but when it was starting to become more consumer friendly,
mhm.
there was, I remember somebody talking about an app that was going around where somebody had created basically a virtual arcade,
Yeah,
and you could use, I think it was
those still,
Maine.
yeah,
Actually,
those
you probably
still.
told me about this.
I didn't know.
Okay. Anyway, I remember thinking like, wow, that's such a cool idea, such a cool concept,
Yeah.
but in practice, that is not the way I want to play those games.
Yeah, you can do virtual, VR pinball as well in the same way. There's
Pinball, I could see doing
VR
a
MAME
little
and
bit more than that, but
yeah,
you know what I mean? But, as far as games that you played on a video screen,
yeah.
it's not the way I wanna
Speaking
play
of your
those.
favorite game, Arcade Paradise is either out on VR or coming out very soon on
Well, I gotta
MetaQuest.
get that.
Yeah.
Why not PSVR 2?
Well, I don't know if you know this. It doesn't sound like PSVR 2 is doing too well,
I
right?
mean,
What is
mine's been sitting in its case for, I don't remember the last time I opened it, so.
I put mine away. I have opened mine. I have played some things on it, but mine's sitting in its case too. Yeah.
I will probably, we have people in our Gran Turismo league
That
that
play
play
in VR.
exclusively in VR because Gran Turismo 7 in VR is really good.
Why don't
I
you
mean,
play it in
it's
VR?
crazy. Because I can't get used to because I'm too competitive. I guess is what I'm gonna get.
Oh, is that
I'm
what
gonna
that
say.
is?
I'm not used to it enough that I feel like I'm as competitive in VR as I am
uh,
just playing off the screen. But
okay.
when we end our current series, which I think we have 3 races to go, maybe 4, and one of the guys is talking about starting a sort of an off-season series of races. I'm
Mm,
probably gonna play that exclusively in VR because I won't necessarily get into every race anyway, and
yeah.
I won't be there competing for a championship, so I'm gonna, it sounds pathetic when you say it out loud, but anyway, um,
Ah,
yeah, but it is really good in VR. Like, it's crazy how well it works. So,
mm,
but that's right now. I'm not compelled to break out the VR. Like,
mm.
I'm using it definitely less than I used
PSVR 1.
PSVR 1. Now, that
Yeah.
being said, knowing that whatever that game is we were talking about earlier tonight is out.
Arcade Paradise.
No, not Arcade Paradise. The horror game.
Switchback.
Switchback. I might take a look at that.
Well, wait for a sale. It'll probably be on sale again soon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arcade Paradise VR. Apparently, Mike in the chat is saying exclusive games for that version of the game.
Really? Oh, damn.
You're back in.
I might have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, 3DS emulator is cool, but I just don't imagine I would play anything on it. I don't know. I go to VR for golf and some action games. But anyway, let's do this one from listener Mike. Our friend Mike has sent in a tweet. It says Bloomberg is claiming Nintendo is going to ship around 10 million Switch 2 units next year. Regardless of when it launches, do you think we'll face a shortage situation again? And if so, how long will it last?
Yes, and I don't know.
Probably, and who knows? My hope is that they make enough where I can easily get one on launch day, and then I don't have to worry about it. That's my hope.
Pre-order early.
I will be pre-ordering early.
Yeah,
for sure. I hope they have that, because I don't know about you, but I'm too old to stand in line for anything anymore.
I haven't done that in so long. I think the last time I did that was the PS3 and Wii launch.
I don't want to do that again.
And it was cold.
I'm not interested in doing that again.
No.
For anything.
It's so funny because
I think we're past that point too.
Yeah.
I hope we are.
Well, it's so funny because, again, talking about the guy at work. Actually, I don't know if he's been on our show. I've been on his. It's Game Positive.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if he's still doing anything anymore. But he's a fair amount younger than us. And talking to him, it's so funny because I'm like, in my head, I'm the same way, where it's like, man, I remember being excited the way you were excited. Not that I'm not excited about new stuff anymore, but like he's absolute, or at least if not, he's just barely past the point where it's like launch day and like go wait in line, and it's all about, you know, the excitement of the moment and all that stuff. And I'm like, man, I haven't been that way since like the mid 2000s. I'm so over that. Again, very excited for new consoles, don't get me wrong, but
my comfort zone now is Apple opens the pre-order for the new iPhones at 5 a.m. I wake up, I pre-order a thing and go back to sleep. Like that is my
such an old man.
Where I can do that from my bed. I don't have to get to get up and do anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Even with the PS3 and Wii launches, I didn't go overnight. I got up, I think I got up at 4 a.m.
Oh, you had pre-orders.
Yes, but no, I don't.
Are you talking about you got up to do the pre-order?
No. I got up to go stand in line. But what I did is, I don't think I had pre-orders, but I went to the EB that I used to go to all the time, and I was like, I told my wife at the time, like, I'm going to get up at like 4 a.m. and I'm going to drive up, and if the line's not too long, I'm going to stay. Like if I get up there and there's like 50 people in line, because that was a lot for this EB, right? It's like they're not going to have enough consoles to go around, so I'm not going to stand in line just to be for 4 or 5 hours just to be told that I wasn't going to get one. Right. But I went up and I think I was like 7th in line. So I stayed and I ended up getting both that day. Although they weren't supposed to give people, like they came out and said you either have to have one or the other. You can't get both.
Yeah,
because they were so short. But then I didn't know the manager super well, but I knew him well enough that he recognized me. And I remember getting a call from inside the store saying like, "Hey, are you here for both?" And I was like, "Yeah, if I can." He's like, "Yep, no problem."
Wow.
Great, thanks. So that
was this nice. You using your
no, it had nothing to do with that. Clout? I was just there a lot, that's all, and I spent a lot of money at that place. Well, that was back when I was buying new games all the time on the 360. My 360 collection is ridiculous. So anyway, yeah, but so even that one I wasn't in line overnight for it, right? I think the only time I've ever done that was when I was with you for the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, that's not the only time I've done overnight. I did overnight for PlayStation 2 in Japan as well,
Mm-hmm.
and that was pretty cool. Because at a certain point at like 3 a.m., they gave people tickets and told you to come back later,
Right.
which meant it wasn't completely overnight. But I was ready to do that,
Yeah.
but I didn't
I,
have to. Thankfully,
I
thankfully.
love it because every now and then your pictures from the PS2 American launch pop up at various Facebook feeds and stuff
Yeah.
in different groups I'm in. And I was like, I know that picture. I know the guy who took that picture.
Oh yeah, yeah. The pictures I took during that come up all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun memory though.
I loved it. It was great. I
It
would
was a
never
good
do it
time.
again, but it was a good time.
No. Well, earlier in the evening, I was driving around to different Best Buys taking pictures of people who were in the line, and that
Right.
was one of those pictures.
Well, we
And
didn't plan on staying that. We didn't plan on
no,
standing in line, if I remember correctly. And then I think it was a last minute thing where we decided we were
yeah,
going to do it.
because the line was already so so
Right.
long. We were like,
Yeah.
if we're gonna get one, we're
Yeah.
gonna be here the night.
Yeah. It was like right next to my my I guess it was an apartment.
Yeah,
It wasn't right next to it, but it was pretty close. So yeah,
close
good time.
enough to take bathroom
Bathroom
breaks.
breaks. Yeah.
Indeed. All right. Let's do this one from hashtag. Did I say
Hashtag.
hashtag? Hacker alias insipid ghost. I genuinely feel for the poor PR folks having to navigate some of the decisions regarding Suicide Squad's marketing and code distribution. Feels like a disjointed affair where higher ups ignored rational advice in favor of ill advised tactics. So, this is referring to some outlets not getting codes because they had negative previews. Did you read that?
I didn't, but that's not surprising.
I mean, how can you really be that shocked?
Yeah, that's not like that's a new practice.
No, this is not at all a new practice. This is God. I mean, 2000s, like 20 years ago, we're still dealing. If you
Yeah.
did a negative preview, you probably weren't going to get review code.
Yeah, depending on the company.
Depending on the company,
Yeah.
and it was probably worse back then because you'd be waiting for the retail release, and then you'd be like 2
Yeah.
months late with your
I was going to
review.
say, and with the lead time, you were really late at that point. It wasn't just
Yeah,
like I didn't
a
get the
couple
review
days,
code, so I have to go out and buy it next week.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I think if you buy the deluxe edition, you get early access to it anyway. So, yeah, I
Oh,
don't
there
know
you
if
go.
any of those outlets will be able to do that. But yeah, Suicide Squad, I think, is it's going to be an interesting thing to watch because obviously they're spending a shitload of money. They spent a shitload of money
Are they
on the
trying
game.
to they're trying to market their way out of the sort of
Yes.
lackluster response to it?
Yes. They're trying to
Okay.
market their way outside of the lackluster response from Game Press. And the way that they're doing that seems to be marketing and promotion on the digital storefronts. Heavy marketing. There's
I've noticed
Suicide
that.
Squad stuff everywhere on PlayStation and Xbox. And then they're doing pretty, I would imagine, big budget TV advertising as well during your sports ball
Mhm.
games. So
Super Bowl's coming up.
they are trying to juke around the reviews and more traditional gaming press, and then they're doing Twitch drops for this thing for like the first month the game is out. I think you get different cosmetics. Are you
Oh
familiar
my
with how
god.
Twitch drops work?
Yeah, I am.
Where you watch a streamer streaming a particular game, you connect your account, and then you get cosmetic items in that game for watching somebody stream. So to me, it's probably going to have a really, really big influencer push. Probably a lot of paid placement on there. They're probably not going to get bad mouthed on there too much, and they're trying to uh, make everybody forget about the sort of bad reception that it's gotten in the more traditional enthusiast press. Whether that will work, I have no idea.
I mean, I don't know. I do feel bad for the marketing people and the PR
Why is
people
your
that
video gone?
because my daughter's walking around in the back and she doesn't want to be on camera.
Oh,
You all set? Okay, love you. Good night. Go to bed. You're grounded.
I was like, I can hear you, but not see you. Where's Greg? Where's Greg?
Okay, I've got a face for radio anyway. Yeah, I mean, it sucks, but it's not. I don't know. It's not a new thing.
No,
you know,
I can't think.
Some games are bad, and you still need to market them. You still got to try to sell them.
I can't really think of a game like a high-profile game that has been able to escape bad or negative previews like Suicide Squad is trying to.
Yeah,
we'll see if it works, because you look at games like Avengers, you look at games like Anthem.
Yeah,
they didn't survive that. But then you look at games like No Man's Sky and Sea of Thieves, which had initial bad reviews. Sea of Thieves is like under 70 on Metacritic. And
was it really?
Huh. Yeah. And it's still going almost 6 years on. Like it, so it doesn't exactly mean the death knell, but it's all about how if the audience is perceptive or is receptive, not perceptive, if it's receptive to the message that Rocksteady and Warner Brothers is trying to give. I don't think the fact that it's a games as a service game and has a grind necessarily means that it's going to fail. Because we'd have plenty of games as a service hits.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of whether the audience that is looking for that kind of thing is receptive to what it's dishing out.
Right. I mean, it's Rocksteady, right?
It is. Yeah.
So, I mean, they've made really good stuff in the past.
It's different than what they've done in the past.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't have any interest in it. So I did originally, because I do like the Suicide Squad as a sort of a franchise, but
I'm sure they'll I mean, I would not be surprised to see like a free trial on PS Plus.
Can they not? This sounds terrible, but like, can they not butter up some influencers?
They're going to. They're. I mean, yes, they are going to butter up influencers. Yes,
that's what's going to happen.
They have a big budget for buttering up influencers.
Yeah. There's going to be a few that'll just have like full support from the studio and from like it'll be all Suicide Squad all the time.
Well, yeah, you'll get big streamers who are it's going to be a sponsored
giveaways, and
it's going to be a sponsored thing. Whether or not they badmouth it, who knows? Like, I sort of look at sponsored streams and that kind of thing as like going around to late night talk shows. Like late night talk shows, they weren't going to badmouth a movie to the actor's face, right? Like they're part of that promotional loop, and to me, that's what influencers are. And it's either is the audience going to be receptive to what the game is, and are they going to see the frustration of a streamer if they're not having a good time with it? Like that is going to be what impacts it.
And also, if you've got a streamer with a dedicated enough audience, they'll play what the influencer's playing.
Yes.
Right. If they're telling them to do it, they'll do it.
Sometimes.
But I mean, it's not anything new. That's happened forever. I always go back to the Portal Runner story.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of the marketing people, I mean, back then when I was still dealing with marketing and PR people, 90% of the time they know they're dealing with something that's pretty much unsellable.
Yeah.
And is going to be, just killed in the press and
I'm wondering
online. But
I'm wondering if that's the case here, though.
I don't know.
Or if this is a case of the games as a service backlash is then the stink on it is so strong that has been what's sort of colored the landscape for it. And maybe the audience is going to be receptive to it. Maybe the audience is going to be okay with it.
Maybe. I mean, I know for me personally, it was that I just was bummed that it's a franchise that I'm interested in is just another service game.
Yeah.
/ squad based shooter.
Yeah.
You know, like I know, maybe that's not fair. I don't know what the proper term is for it, but that's
some of the biggest games in the world are that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, I wonder if it's even as bad as we think it is.
Yeah.
And no one's really given the game a chance from a gameplay perspective because no one's really experienced it.
Well, from
It
what I
might be
have
great.
heard, the preview events that they've had, they have not let you get to a point where you're playing naturally. There was apparently a beta in November, so that's different. But like media preview events that they've had, they sort of fast forwarded people to like a midpoint in the game, and to me, that's
Okay.
not really like a natural gameplay progression
Especially in a game
experience.
where the grind is such a big part of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's incredibly hard to tell if it's a bad game or if it's just that the person who's playing has no attachment to the grind that has happened up
Right.
to that point, so they don't have a frame of reference to what's happening after that point. Like that's why this is going to be a very interesting case to see if this PR and marketing can can work around some of this negative reception that has happened.
Right. Just pay off an influencer.
It's gonna. I mean, that is gonna. They're probably gonna have multiple
Yeah.
big people on Twitch are gonna be streaming this.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yep.
So, of course, sometimes that doesn't mean anything. If your game is not good, if your game is not entertaining to watch, if it's not fun for the streamer to play, people can see through that kind of. The viewers, I think, can see through that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah.
They got to have a good product at the end of the day. And I guess we'll find out if they do. Got to pump up that buttering up budget. Yeah. All right. Let's do one more. What do you think about that? One more?
Let's do one.
Okay. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Benjamin Rivers.
I've heard of him.
What's a Switch game you thought you were going to play purely handheld, but you ended up playing mostly docked?
None.
What about the opposite? Yeah, I don't necessarily think of games that way. Like I'm going to play this docked or I'm going to play this handheld. Although I do have cases where I will think, oh, this will be great for playing in handheld. A good example of that is Clubhouse games. Where
yeah,
I play
you know what?
I
I bought Clubhouse games exactly for that reason too. I've forgotten all about it, but yes, you're right.
Yeah, and there are some
Great
puzzle
example.
games where I'm like, I'm probably not going to play this docked, but I'll play it handheld, and yeah, and then I've gone and done that. So,
yep. No, Clubhouse games is a good answer. That's I changed my answer from nope to Clubhouse games.
Okay, there you go.
Because yeah, that's that was a game that I thought, oh, that'll be great. You know, we'll just put the Switch on the table or whatever, and you know, just play them that way, and it just never really happened.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right. I think that's it.
I think that's a show.
That's a show. We're done. We did it.
Even without Phil.
Yeah. How is that possible?
I mean, it's pretty possible.
Yeah. Well, I hope Phil is feeling better.
Yes, me too.
He was under the weather.
A little under the weather.
Yes. All right.
I mean, he's pretty small, so he's under a lot of things.
True.
He's like half an inch shorter than me.
That's still my favorite thing is that we call him.
I know. It's so hilarious. It's like when we're together, it's like we're looking at each other eye to eye. I mean, you're gargantuan, but you know.
Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1Podcast on Twitter or X or Threads. That's where we are. We're on those two places pretty much.
That was
or you can go. What?
That was 3 places.
Well,
no,
Twitter and X.
Twitter
and X is one place.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was 3 words.
It was. Well, that's true. Yeah.
2 words in a letter. Anyway.
Yeah. Do you think Twitter's going away? I don't think it'll ever go away.
Going away? No. Although it's, we were sitting at a restaurant last night and there was a television on, and I did make a comment that it's kind of not sad is not the right word. I kind of loved how even after Twitter was rebranded, that so many outlets, like especially news outlets, were kind of holding on to the name Twitter. And like you'd still see the blue bird logo when they were showing something, like especially on the news. But I've noticed in like recent weeks, I'm starting to notice that that's gone away.
Yeah.
Everything's on X now, which is like, of course it is. I mean, that's the name, that's the brand. It's that there was
they're not changing it back,
it was
even though it seems like that change to X was
but anyway,
flash in the pan thing. It's sticking around.
Yeah. So I mean, they might change back because I don't think a lot of these decisions are made based on market research.
No.
It's all just how Elon's feeling that day. But
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. No, it's not going away. X isn't going away. It's just a little bit different than it was.
I like Threads. Threads is fine. Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, we've got an internet website, player1podcast.com. There you'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Stewart. You'll find Generation 16 episodes there. You'll also find show notes and links to all the things that we talked about on episodes just like these. And you can even find a link to our Discord server where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you would like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by going to player1podcast.com or any one of your favorite podcasting apps.
Yeah.
We're also on Spotify. We're on Stitcher.
Nope, not Stitcher.
We're not on Stitcher. We're on Spotify.
Stitcher closed.
Closed? Yeah. This is how long it's been since I've done this. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on lots of different places. And if you want to catch us live, you can usually catch us on Sunday evenings at, what is it, your time? 6 p.m.
5:30
p.m. Pacific time, 9:30 p.m. Atlantic time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
On youtube.com/P1 podcast. You can usually catch us live. And if you like what you've heard, and how could you can support the show by going to patreon.com/ what is it, CJ? Player One Podcast or P1 Podcast?
P1
Podcast. Throw a few shekels our way, as Phil would say.
Yeah.
And if you are a supporter of the how much? $5 variety?
Yeah. Cheap.
Thank you. You get access to the weekly bonus show where we play games. We crack wise. I can't do this.
We quack wise.
Do all the things we can't do on the regular show.
Quack wise.
CJ, I'm a little worried. Do we have a game this week?
We do have a game.
Really? That only two of us can play?
Yeah, the two of us can play.
Cool.
Yeah, this will be fun.
I hope.
No, it's a video quiz.
You have to find that $5.
Video-based quiz. I bet you can't guess who sent it in.
It's from Mike.
It's from Mike. Yeah.
It's Mike's birthday gift to us.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And we'll be watching short video clips from something. I have no idea what. And
then I hope it's not his old VHS collection.
And then we will have to say the next line after the challenge clip ends. So I imagine this has to do with famous lines in movies and television shows.
I hope Urotsuki Doji's on there.
Probably not. Is my guess. But yeah, we'll be doing that.
And if you want a taste of what the after show is like, check out our main feed, because CJ has been diligently re-releasing old after shows for your enjoyment if you are not a $5 subscriber. But we really would like it if you were a $5 subscriber, because hey, you know what? Though we make it look easy and low budget, it ain't cheap to do this show every week.
It's true.
And we need money to keep the lights on. I mean, I'm not saying that we pay CJ's power bill, but just in general, it keeps things running. keeps the servers going, all that fun stuff. And hey, if you got a little bit of money left over, please consider heading over to patreon.com/Greg Stewart, where you can support my YouTube channel, specifically my show called Generation 16, where I talk about the Genesis. Because, Genesis sounds similar. Please consider supporting that show as well. CJ, thank you so much for hosting again this week.
Thank you, Greg.
And Phil, wherever you are, I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, feel better, buddy.
And to all you viewers and listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll talk at you all next week.
Bye-bye.